I like to stay current, what's going on. I follow what the high schools are doing.
We're all about turning a crappy situation into something positive.
$250,000 of credit card
I
debt.
still remember the day when no one turned up.
Throw it in the garbage and start from scratch.
I could give myself a chance, so I started something.
I mean, I think that counts as from poop to gold.
Hey guys, welcome back to From Poop to Gold. I'm Daniel Harmon, Chief Creative Officer at Harmon Brothers. My guest today is DeStorm Power.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, early in the morning.
Early in the morning, that's right. So, funny thing, DeStorm and I met about 10 years ago. Back then, I knew DeStorm as a recording artist.
Yep.
You've had a little bit of a transition from music to where you're doing a lot more acting.
A lot more acting, yeah.
Notably, DeStorm has been in epic rap battles of history, right?
Yep.
As Mr. T, you've done that one. You've got a series on YouTube called Caught.
Series,
I think you got an Emmy nomination for that one, right?
Got the Emmy nomination last year. We have a new one, a new series called You Decide, which is how can I say it? A choose your own adventure type series, which is up for another Emmy nomination. Hopefully, we'll get the nod this year as well. Yeah,
very cool.
That's kind of cool.
And then also, you were on the reboot of Punk'd, right? You were the host.
I was the host
on MTV.
They took it over to BET.
Oh, okay.
And I was the host, and my co-host was King Batch.
Okay. Very cool. So anyway, multi-talented artist, obviously do a lot of acting, into a lot of music and stuff. Good at marketing. You've got your YouTube and all that stuff. I'm sure you've got, your Twitter and all those things. But how have you come to where you are now?
Well, if I'm going to take it way back, I'm one of 8 siblings. I have 7 siblings.
Of 9.
I'm one of 8. I'm sorry. So it's 8 of us, and I'm the middle child. My mother raised us in Baltimore.
Oh, okay.
So we didn't have like TV and all that type of stuff because we was like po-po.
Like no TV?
No TV.
See, I thought I was deprived because I grew up in Idaho with just the 3 channels, ABC, NBC,
I wish I had
CBS.
ABC, NBC, and CBS. No, so we didn't have that. So my mother, instead, she gave us like a lot of like puzzles and little things to figure out. That's why if you look at like my YouTube coming up, you saw I did a lot of like challenges and little brain games and things because that's like what I knew. Yeah. So like, and then I went to the School of the Arts, same school as like Jada Pinkett and Tupac Shakur in Baltimore School of the Arts. So she sent me there off of a scholarship. I think I drew a picture for, at the time, I think it was Jesse Jackson or something, and I won a scholarship. So I went to that school of arts.
So you were good at drawing at that point.
I was really good. I was like 12, and I was just drawing like things. And then eventually I started drawing murals on like church walls and mosques and synagogues and things like that. So like the Last Supper, I was doing that type of stuff as a teenager. So I was like a really dope artist at the time. And then from there, I wanted to get into music. So me and my brother, we started like a rap group. And we were at the mall rapping and things like that. And eventually we came out with a song in Baltimore when I was about 17 years old. And then from there, my mother was like, well, if you can make it on the radio in Baltimore, go to New York. So I moved to New York when I was about 18, 19 years old.
Wow.
I had my son when I was that age too. So I was 18, I had my son, and I moved to New York because I was like, I got to make some money for this boy.
Yeah.
So when I got to New York, I started to work at a bunch of labels from Bad Boy to Universal Records to J Records, and then I eventually landed at Atlantic Records where I was a ghostwriter for a lot of artists in, the 2000s.
All right, so you were writing lyrics.
I was writing lyrics for a lot of artists, yeah.
Very cool.
And then from there...
So ghostwriter meaning you can't mention which artists these were.
Yeah. Back then, you can't...
That's a bummer.
Yeah, but these days, they don't... It doesn't really exist anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't matter as
back
much.
then, it was like NDA, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't matter. Like, writers get so much credit. Like, I'm a writer,
Yeah.
But so from there, I was also doing fitness. I was running track, when I finished my track career, I became a personal trainer, and I put one of my clients' training sessions online, and I put it on MySpace.
Oh,
but
wow!
She was
way early
old,
days.
right? So she was old, and she didn't have MySpace. So she was like, I can't look at this MySpace page. Can you put it somewhere else? And YouTube, it just came out. So I put her session on YouTube, and so she could see the workout. But then it started getting all these views and stuff, and I was like, wow, people from Germany are watching my YouTube video. Yeah. So from there, I started to look at other YouTubers at the time, like the early adapters, and I was like, I want to be a YouTuber. All I have to do is add some personality. So from there, in I think 2006, pretty much I transitioned from MySpace to YouTube and became a YouTube personality. Then from there, it was just like, okay. here it is. So I started to do all of the YouTube and get into social media, long ago.
Very cool. Wow. So that's from music to becoming a YouTuber. And
Right.
then from there, how did you I guess if you're on YouTube, you are doing some acting regardless, right?
Well, yeah, you're acting, pretty much acting on there. Then I was doing small scenes and, shows and things, Law and Orders and things like that. And I was always into acting and things and we were doing a lot of acting.
So you were going out for auditions and stuff here in Hollywood and all that.
Well, I was in
New York.
Right.
In New York.
In New York. And then I met with Sarah Penna, who was Joe's Mr. Guitar Man's wife now.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So she became my manager and said, why don't you move to LA? And me and her, we had more of a partnership with the crew. And then we started, Big Frame.
Yeah.
We started the company Big Frame. And then I started a subsidiary company because I wanted to be more entrepreneur. So I started Forefront TV, which I discovered a lot of talent under there from Paige Kennedy, King Batch, and a lot of the black creators came up under my umbrella, but it didn't work. So that's when we took them to Vine in 2013. We said, me and King Batch just said, let's see if we can do a sketch in 6 seconds on this app, because they were just on selfies. So we did the very first sketch on Vine, and it became a thing.
Yeah,
so we started,
big time.
Big time. He actually has a Guinness World Record for the most followers on Vine.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So we started Vining in 2013, and then we did that for 3 years, and the things went wrong with us in corporate over there, so we quit. Then everybody dispersed to Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
And,
You kind of saw the writing on the wall before it was there, because Vine is now gone.
it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, rode the wave while you could, right? That's pretty cool.
So that's pretty much the transition, and then cut to 2018, we decided to start an SVOD, subscription video on demand platform, Zeus. So we started the Zeus platform, and it's doing very well now. There's a lot of people trying to get it from us. You ain't getting it yet. So calm down. So, we started.
Maybe eventually. For the
eventually.
right price.
Right. So we launched in 2018. We dropped 30 shows on Zeus.
Wow.
And it's
I
doing,
didn't know it was that big.
Yeah, Zeus is doing really, really, really well. And so from there, it cut to today.
How much is the subscription on it?
It's $3.99
Okay.
on Zeus.
Okay.
But it's short form. It's like a short form of Netflix, but we're not here to battle Netflix, of course. But
right.
It's just, if you have some of your favorite creators on Zeus just doing shows, premium content in a shorter form, 15 and under.
Very cool. You're definitely an entrepreneur, man. Good for you.
And then cut to today. I'm sitting here having this great meeting with you. We meet again.
There you go. Yeah. So did you have any entrepreneurship blood in your family?
My mother always tried to start companies. She just didn't have the money to do it. But she would always have I got this idea. I'm about to start this perfume company. I'm like,
so
Mom, you got $10. You ain't,
But that's a little bit where it comes from, huh?
Mm-hmm.
A little bit. That's very cool. Yep. So then let's talk a little bit. Again, the podcast is called From Poop to Gold.
Yep.
So a time in your life, if you can think of one when you've had a really crappy situation, but you were able to turn it into something good or great.
Oh, I got plenty of those. There's this one situation where I was in New York City. It was wintertime, February, and I wanted to go back home. I said, I'm going back to Baltimore. This is not working out. Yep. You have that moment in your life where you don't think you're going to make it.
Yeah.
And I was living in a sublet. They had a site called sublet.com where you just sublease places and stuff.
Yeah.
You remember that? And I was done. I got fired from Red Lobster. I got fired from the first label that I was working at not because of me, but they had to let me go. And I couldn't eat. I couldn't do nothing. So I was just struggling. Eventually I was living in my car. So I had a little 93 Clips at the time.
In New York.
In New York. And then I was singing in the subways. So I was one of the subway performers.
Like with the hat out
and
everything?
I had a box.
Uh-huh.
And I would go to neighborhoods that no one knew who I was. And I'm singing in the subways and rapping in the subways so I can make money to eat. So I would get money for food and gas for the car.
Yeah.
And one day I was going home. I had my amp and my mic. And I got home and some kids, I guess, burned the car. So I don't know. So I didn't have the car anymore.
Like just burn the car to the ground.
Right. So then eventually I'm at Hoyt Skimmerhorn subway station. I'm living in the subway. So I was homeless. I'm like, whoa.
Gosh.
And my mother, I still had my cell phone. So it was a little brick phones. And my mother would call me up and she's like, how you doing? I said, Mom, I'm with Diddy right now. But I was like homeless. So eventually Sprint turns my phone off. So I don't have a phone. So now I'm living in the subway just like, whoa, I became a homeless person.
Oh, man.
So, but during the transition during the process.
This is like what's the movie? The Pursuit of Happiness.
It's like The Pursuit of Happiness.
I know, seriously.
But during the process, while I was singing in subways, people were passing me their cards all the time. And I didn't really pay attention to them because I'm giving them my demo. This is back when it was cool to give out your demo. So I'm giving them my demo and things like that. So eventually I gave up and I said, I'm gonna go home. I'm walking in the snow. I had the bags around my feet, just the old stereotype, everything homeless. So I'm walking to the payphone to make a phone call and I bummed someone for money. I was like, hey man, you got 35 cents so I can make a phone call? Gave me the money. I go to the phone and this card falls out of my pocket. So I'm like, should I call my brother and go home or should I call the number on the card? I'm calling the number on the card. I called the number on the card. Some dude named Jonathan Feingold, he answers the phone. He's like, hey, well, his assistant. She's like, hey, DeStorm, well, how you doing? My boss really wants to meet you. And this is before I get all the heavy music and stuff that I talked about. And I was like, well, okay, I can meet him right now. And then she's like, no, but he has to go to the Hamptons. I was like, well, I'm busy. So if he got to go to the Hamptons, I'm not going to be able to be. She's like, no. I'll put him on the phone. He gets on the phone. You
played that hard even when you were like,
even when I was down. So I called his bluff. He gets on the phone. He's like, hey, man, because she was so excited. So he was like, hey, man, I really love your music. I think I get you some writing. You could do something for MTV, VH1, BET, and things like that. I could get you some placements. And basically, background music or play songs in TV shows. So I was like, if you want to meet me, then you got to meet me now because I got 5 meetings up here in Harlem. And then he was like, well, I got to go to the Hamptons. I said, all right, well, Jonathan, I'm sorry, man, because I didn't have anything to lose. He's like, no, I can meet you right now. Come on down to the Lower East Side. I didn't even have money to get on the subway. So I literally jumped over the turnstile, rode the subway down to the Lower East Side of New York. And I went to his place. And when I get in his place, he got plaques all over the wall. And I was like, this guy's legit. He's serious. And I'm in there looking like a bum. I only had 2 outfits, but I kept them clean. So I'm looking around in his place, and he's like rich. And I'm like, so he eventually was like, I can get you placements, this, that, and the other. I said, okay, cool. So I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'm broke, man. I've been living on the streets. I've been homeless, man. If you really believe in me, man, then you cut me a check. And he cut me a check on the spot. He literally wrote me a check. It wasn't a lot, but I went from a hostel, and then I went from hostel to an apartment. Then from an apartment, I met my girlfriend at the time, and me and her got a place together at a loft, and then I got my own place, and then eventually I started doing the music background music for MTV, and I did some stuff for a lot of shows on there, and then that's when I started working at all the labels I was telling you about. So it was like from poop to gold. And I was like,
seriously?
Yeah. So it was a journey.
Have you told that story in a video?
I haven't told it in a video. But I think on the Draw My Life, I did a Draw My Life, and I told some of that story. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, years ago. But I got to update my Draw My Life.
Yeah, man, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's such a great story. Well, thank you for sharing that. So I was going to ask what you've sacrificed to get here, but that's pretty plain. You sacrificed everything.
Oh, a lot. And I had a son at the time. He didn't even know. His little lazy.
Yeah. Well, so when you were in New York, when all that was going down, was your son with you?
He would no. So my sisters, I have 4 sisters.
Okay.
So what I did was when that was going down, I had my son staying with them. But when he would come to New York, he didn't stay with me during that project. That was for 3 months.
Okay.
And for that 3 months, he stayed in Maryland with my family.
Oh, okay.
But when everything was better, like when I was working Red Lobster or whatever, working at IHOP, waiting tables and things like that, he was with me.
Oh, okay.
And then he moved back when I started to get it all back together. And
Yeah.
stuff.
You bet.
But I lied to my sisters. I was like, no, we got to go on tour. Damn tour.
Oh my gosh, man! You just had to make it work one way or another. Huh?
I finessed the whole situation.
Yeah, you did. Okay, so talk to me now a little bit about kind of your creative process. Like, how do ideas come to you? Obviously, you've got a lot of ideas as an entrepreneur,
right?
But also like for content creation. Mm-hmm. How much does that involve collaborating with other people? I'm assuming you have a team around you and stuff now.
I have a team of creators around me. I've never really had like a big production team unless I'm working on a big production.
Yeah.
A lot of the ideas for myself And I'm not to brag, but a lot of ideas for myself and a lot of my creative people around me, I just give. I don't know, it just flows. So I give them ideas. So a lot of my circle, like even their videos, they were like, "Hey man, can you punch this up?" We call them punch ups.
Yeah.
So I just punched that video up.
It's very similar to what we have.
Right. So you punch it up, you give them, and then me and my boy Fonz, they call us the Punch Brothers.
Yeah.
So if someone is lost with an idea, they're like, "Yo, call the Punch Brothers." They call us up. "Hey man, we got this idea for this brand. Can you give us a punch up?" So they call us up. We give them an idea. So but a lot of it comes from the people. I like to stay current. What's going on?
Yeah.
I follow what the high schoolers are doing.
Yeah.
I don't really care what middle school students are doing because middle school students want to be like high schoolers.
Yeah, they're just trying to figure life out.
So they're trying to figure it out. But high schoolers, they have to be cool.
Yes.
Because, and if they're on something, if they're on a new platform or an app, or if they're using a new trinket or gadget, it's because they doing it out of coolness, not because they have to buy it. Because when you get to college, you're paying again for books. Or when you're like me, in my 30s, I'm 36. So when you're my age, like I have bills to pay.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to get on something like that, it has to benefit me.
Yep.
But for high school kids, nothing has to benefit them. The boys want to show off for the girls, and the girls want to be, the fly. So whatever high school kids are on, I know it's going to do well.
Yeah.
So if for example, when TikTok or Vine came out, I knew they would do well because the high school kids were on it.
Yeah.
Not middle school, not college, that one area of high school, not even freshmen. If it's juniors, sophomores, seniors, if they're on it, it's popping. So I follow what they're doing, and they continue to keep me like current with the language. They keep me the lingo. They keep me current with what's going on, and it helps that my son is in that bracket.
I was going to ask, how do you get in with them? You can't just like walk into, or do you just walk into high schools and be like, "Hey, what's going on? What do you got on your phone?"
Hey, look, check this out, man. I'm coming through right now. No, my son's in that bracket. All of his friends are like within that bracket as well, and it also helps that. I just watch some of the, like what they're doing on YouTube and what are the challenges or whether it be.
Okay. So you're watching the content they're creating.
I'm watching their content and, just to see what's up because eventually you get dated.
Yep.
And you want to stay fresh. And I also, another thing I do is I continue to expand on all of my platforms. So I do it by seasons. So like YouTube will be for winter season. Then I go to Instagram for this season. So that way I can have 10 million followers on Facebook, come back 5 million on Instagram, come back 5 million on YouTube. That way you're hitting, because every audience is a niche and different audience.
Yep.
What you do on Facebook doesn't work on YouTube.
Right.
What you do on YouTube doesn't work on Twitter, and Twitter doesn't work on Instagram. Instagram doesn't work on TikTok. It's different.
Yep.
So you have to reach all of these pods of audiences like that, and that way you'll know. You expand. So I'm walking through the supermarket and they're like, "Man, I love your TikToks." Then I'll go down the street. "I love your YouTube." I'll go up there. "Man, you funny on Twitter." So the audience is so much more global when you're on everything as opposed to just focusing on one.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. You have to diversify, especially because if a platform changes something, you need some time. You need something else to kind of hold you up.
Because
they
change.
adjust to that change.
They'll change on you quick.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't care.
And they'll shut you down. And then you're like, whoa, but it doesn't affect them. I've seen people just crash because, oh my God, Instagram's down. Oh my God, YouTube just changed the platform and this, that, and the other. So then they're complaining and you see them on Twitter just like their life is over and I'm just chilling.
Yeah.
Not only because I have my own company, but beyond that, I'm just like, I'm large everywhere else. So I don't really care. When it comes back around. It's not my company. I can't tell them what to do.
That's right. Very cool. So what about networking with people? Like, how do you go about like finding these different creators and stuff that you bring into it's Zeus, right?
Zeus. Well, I think back in the day, I used to just go out and go to every event and things. Now I'm more of a closed, because I've grown so much through the years.
Yeah.
My phone is always going to ring. I mean, we get calls from traditional to social. I mean, we get calls from the biggest actors to, back even when we were on Vine, Justin Bieber, we were working with him, Floyd Mayweather. It doesn't matter. Whoever it is, we were working with Ray J. They would call us up and we would just work with them, because of how large our audience was in our space. When you run the space, people are going to reach out to you. Back in the day, though, it was different. I had cards. I had clever ways. I remember there was an event called 789 in New York. It was way back in the day, and I knew all the big YouTubers would be there. And poop the gold moment. And I I said, Tim De La Ghetto, Shay Carl, all these guys are going to be there. Make Me Bad, Rhett and Link. I said, I got to make a song. I know music and they don't do music. So that night, I literally put together a song called the 7. You can check it out on YouTube. It's old school now, but I made a song that night. Ran to 789. I got all the big YouTubers in my video because I knew that everyone relates to music.
Yeah.
So I had them singing a song called I'm Almost Famous, and they all was singing the Almost Famous record. So when I put it on YouTube, they all shared it.
Yeah.
I got so many followers and network. That was a networking moment.
Yeah.
And I got so many followers from that. And that was one of the moments that really kind of blew me up on YouTube because I was taking advantage of every event or every moment. Now I don't grind as hard in that aspect.
Right.
The creative aspect, the entrepreneurial aspect, I do grind in. But when it comes to networking, I don't really have to because
the flow comes to you.
It comes this way. Yeah,
it's very cool. Yep. We understand that transition where you're out pounding the pavement for a while, but then once you've proved yourself and stuff, it starts to come to you, and it's more of like, okay, what opportunities am I going to go with, right? As opposed to having to go out and chase them as much.
And if people know your brand, and then like for years, I had a good, clean, strong, solid, creative, and respectable brand. You know, and people know that if I put out a piece of content, and I'd like to, hold myself honorable to this. When I put out a good piece of content, I try to make it the greatest. No matter how many views it gets or not, I want it to be the best. Because some people just do stuff just for views, or they'll do stuff just to have a piece of content out. But I never was that guy. Like if you look at any piece of content I ever put out, I make sure it's the best in that world, because I want people to be very impressed by it. Yeah. So I'll go above and beyond.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, DeStorm. This has been a lot of fun. It's been really, really cool to get to know your backstory. Very inspiring to go literally from homeless to, to gold.
I'm here.
And you're here. But we've got a little gift here for you.
Okay.
From our clients.
I love it.
Things there. And then this is our book, From Poop to Gold, as well.
Got it. I love it.
It talks about the culture at Harmon Brothers of creative culture, creative processes, and creative partnerships. So it goes into depth on that. But
thank you so much. And I'm a big reader, so I'm going to read the book and check it out. And I'll just email you or go call you and let you know what I thought of it.
That'd be awesome.
All right, cool.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching, for listening. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, all that good stuff.
And turn on your post notifications. Is that what they say?
Right. That's right. Thank you for the reminder, DeStorm. Where should they look you up if they want to find you? Where do you want our audience to go to?
They could go to. I started a new couples YouTube channel with my girlfriend. It's called The Powerhouse. So that's where I'm focused right now. Okay. I'm not focused on Zeus. I'm not focused on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, nothing. Just The Powerhouse right now. Okay. Like I said, it's seasons.
Thepowerhouse.com or what?
It's just on YouTube.
Oh, just on YouTube.
It's a YouTube channel. The Powerhouse.
The Powerhouse. Okay. Cool. All right. Well, go to his focus.
Go to my focus.
There you go. His next thing. So awesome. Thank you guys. We'll see you on the next one.